What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another season of The Big Hit. We got some new faces joined with us and new season on board. Got some good ideas. It's going to be a pretty good year, so you guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yes, my name is Tyree. I'm senior here, and I'm just excited to start the show.
Yeah, my name's Dylan. I'm also a senior here, and just first time on it, so I'm hyped.
We also got Alex over there. We're gonna be playing a lightning round type game. Alex kind of crafted up, so he's got most of the rules, but should be a fun episode. If you want to explain some of those rules, Alex.
We're already 4 weeks into the NFL season, and obviously, going back to the draft, there's been a ton happening around the NFL. So this lightning round, we have 10 questions here to cover some of the biggest events, some of the hottest topics that we've had over the past couple months. Now, the contestants over there, they're going to have about 90 seconds, a minute 30 to talk. So they're going to have to evenly distribute that time so that they can all get out what they want to say. But we got to wrap it up quick. So everybody's going to be fighting to get their words in. But if you need time, there is a buzzer over there on that desk. And you can hit that and you get an extra minute that anybody who participated in the discussion can participate in. Let's get right into it. So first question. Who is your favorite first round pick from the 2024 NFL Draft? All right, 3 guys, you got 30 seconds each. Starts now. We'll go right to left.
My favorite pick was Xavier Worthy for the Kansas City Chiefs. I found it great because they were, even though they are back-to-back Super Bowl champions, they were still missing weapons for the wide receiver position, and it gives them a speedy receiver. And now looking in hindsight, now that Rice just recently got injured yesterday, it gives them kind of a chance to put him in at the number 1 option.
Yeah, I think my favorite first round pick, I got to go Malik Neighbors. Dude's just a straight stud from what we've seen so far. He's a contender for Rookie of the Year. It's him and Jaden Daniels, but I think skill-wise, a position where we haven't seen a receiver come into the league and start off this hot since Malik Neighbors in a long time. And the kid can ball, and he's proven to be, he's going to be a stud. I think it was a slam dunk pick from the Giants. A lot of people criticize them not going quarterback, not doing a lot of stuff, but they got their guy, and he's proven so far that he could be the answer to this struggling New York offense.
Okay, my first decision has to be a sleeper pick, Xavier Legette. I believe that he was a great late first-round acquisition, mainly because seeing the quarterback switch, you start to see their offense come more into a flow. Play actions, shotgun, they start to look more efficient on the field. So I believe that Xavier Legette will be a nice possession piece for them, and they'll look nice.
All right, awesome, guys. You had about 4 seconds to spare on that first round. So we're going to get right into the second one. This is kind of on the topic of the NFL Draft. There's a little bit of controversy, obviously. Caleb Williams went first overall. The guy behind him, though, having a stellar year. Now the question is, can Jaden Daniels keep up the pace through the entire season? 90 seconds. We'll start with Danny.
Yeah, I think looking at this quarterback class, a lot of people thought that Caleb Williams was going to be the guy. If you watched last year on The Big Hit, I'd let you know Caleb Williams sucks. He's a fraud. I don't like him. I don't think he's that good. He's done adequate in Chicago so far, but I never saw anything out of him at USC that I was that impressed of. I'll say that first. Jaden Daniels is a straight stud. I think he's locked for Rookie of the Year, and he's going to turn this Commanders team around, and hopefully this franchise that has been poverty for the last so many years to actually be contenders, which they've looked like so far this year.
I don't know if I'm completely sold on Jaden Daniels yet. He had a great game, but a lot of the advanced stats I started to see that 60% of his passes were on the right side of the field. There were a lot of dump downs under 15 yards. I hadn't really seen many differences between his throw patterns. So he's a little bit slow in his reads. I am also on the Caleb Williams that he's a fraud. I don't believe he's the greatest over here.
Well, I'm a little bit different. I actually had this talk about this with my dad earlier today. I do think that the Commanders have found their guy, but it doesn't mean much considering the fact that they haven't had anyone before. But I do think he'll be great, and I think he'll win Rookie of the Year. I don't think Caleb Williams is a fraud like they are. I think it's only 3-4 games in, but I think the Commanders will be good.
Staying on the draft for the third question, should the NFL ban the Bills from trading with the Chiefs on draft night?
At this point, I just feel like it's comical. It's kind of ridiculous, but this one that just happened with Xavier Worthy, I don't think is the worst. He's more of a gimmick guy, more of a guy that's going to give you big plays, but nothing that I believe is going to completely change an organization. So it just sucks to see him with the best quarterback in the league. But that's my complete thoughts. They just need to stop all trade negotiations with the Chiefs. It just needs to end.
Yeah, it's just basically legal robbery at this point. It's just that I wouldn't be surprised if they put a ban in, because it's gotten so bad to where it's just, I don't know why they keep doing it. It's terrible.
Well, plenty of time to spare. Not really that controversial of a subject. I think we have our verdict from the big hit. So now moving on to free agency for the fourth question. Who was the best 2024 free agent signing?
Derrick Henry is by far Derrick Henry. He just last night had a almost 1 yard away, 200-yard game. And I know the Ravens started off slow, but I think right now it's Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I think I couldn't really disagree more. I think Derrick Henry has been mediocre at best with the Ravens. He definitely had a good game with them last night, but before that, he's been solid at best. I think someone that has came onto a team and straight up elevated them is Saquon Barkley. The dude has came to the Eagles offense, and he has literally changed that offense around from them having to be pass happy and rely on Jalen Hurts to move his legs to have a running back that is just a generational talent who is horrible, and not horrible, but he didn't have a good career in New York just because of that offensive line, because of that scheme. He comes into a Philadelphia team that has a great scheme, has not a good coach, but an all right scheme, a great offensive line, and he's just been straight up killing it so far with the Eagles, and I think he's a surefire lock already for offensive player of the year. I think that is Saquon's award right now, and he's running away with it.
Well, as a Birds fan, certainly can't complain. There's about 20 seconds left on the clock. Moving on, though, and talking about the NFL as a structure, that changed this summer as well. See, the new dynamic kickoff rule is in place, and if you've seen a game and don't know what's going on, it's a new dynamic kickoff. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
My thoughts are pretty simple. I just don't believe it was a great idea. I get the health reasons, trying to keep the league safe. We've seen that with the Guardian Caps as well. But I feel like it's going to believe to have a lot more pay cuts in the special teams unit when it comes to the kick returner. They're less elusive, less space to get out and create a big play, and I just don't think it's necessarily fair for the kick returners.
I think what they thought was going to happen is just not happen at all. The NFL put that rule in place thinking that we were going to see more kickoffs be returned and a lot less touchbacks, and that has not been the case whatsoever. There has still been a lot of touchbacks. I mean, kickers in the league are just automatic now, and they're booting that out the back of the end zone no matter what. I mean, you look at college football, high school football, all these guys have been growing up doing a certain type of kickoff their whole life, and then they come to the NFL, and then a major part of the game that they've grown up learning and loving is just switched. It's not like that in any other sport to where the jump from college to the pros has a complete major part of the game that's different.
Yeah, I think right now it kind of looks bad just because there's a lot less returns actually than there was the season before. I think what would be interesting is in these next few seasons, if they decide to keep it, if we have kickers that can use it to their advantage because they have to hit it inside the 20, if they could hit it exactly at the 20 or hit certain angles on it that use it to their advantage. I don't know if that'll be good or bad for the game, but it'll be interesting.
All right, well, we talked about the dynamic kickoff, and there was some rumors over the summer that a certain Pittsburgh man could be returning those kickoffs, that being Justin Fields, and now he's making headlines in other departments. He's been pretty decent. He's surpassed expectations so far for the Steelers, but the question is, does Justin Fields end a top 15 QB?
I think top 15, he'll probably get into like the 18 to 17, like right near it, but I don't know if he'll be top 15. But I mean, he has been playing better week by week. Even yesterday, even though they lost, near the end of the game, he did get better and he started to heat up until the ending.
Yeah, I think when you look at this Pittsburgh Steelers team, they're 3-0, and everyone was kind of, glazing the Steelers for a little bit, and it was not deserved. I mean, they've beat kind of bad teams, and they just lost to a Colts team that they straight up should have won against Joe Flacco, against the team they should have won. T.J. Watt didn't look good in that game. But when you look at Justin Fields and his style of play, he hasn't shown me anything great yet that I've seen and been like, oh, wow. Okay. His best play so far was called back from a holding call from Broderick Jones, that throw he made to George Pickens. That was a great throw. That was his best play here, and it was called back. He has more rushing touchdowns than passing touchdowns right now, but I think when you look at the top 15 quarterbacks, I think the top 10 at least are so far from Justin Fields.
I agree with him not being top 15, only for the reason of not pure skill, but for the reason of play calling. I always felt Pittsburgh offense, no matter the quarterback that they bring in, they don't cater the play calling towards that quarterback. They cater the quarterback to fit into the system, which I don't see working out long term for Justin Fields. He does look good right now. He's able to make moves out the pocket. Maybe needs to be a little less frantic while being in the pocket, but I see he's having a good season, but not top 15.
Most disappointing defense is our 7th question, and that's a very general question. Is disappointing can be, league bottom, or they could be playoff contenders that are, playing mid-level.
Yeah, I think when you look at a disappointing defense, you have to talk about Dallas. This was a defense last year that was top 3, and everyone was saying that this is one of the best defenses in the NFL. If you're one of the best defenses in the NFL, you don't let Derek Carr put a 40 bomb on your head. It's just, that's unexcusable. Trayvon Diggs has looked like burnt toast through the first 4 weeks. Micah Parsons has not had a splash game yet where he's kind of wrecked the game. They haven't looked good, not even great. They haven't looked straight up good as a defense this year. And this is a Dallas team offensively that has relied on their defense to kind of get stopped and put them in positions to win games. And they haven't done that this year.
That's exactly where I was going. I was going right to Dallas, considering that I see them a lot as their in-division rival, and their defense looks terrible. I feel like it's starting to slow down their offense. Their defense is on the field constantly, and they can't get a stop. It's almost sad to watch. They can't get a stop. No sacks, no pressures are honestly being contributed, and they just look terrible comparable to last year and the years before.
Yeah, Dallas defense really performing terribly. When I wrote that question, that's who I had in mind, of course. And there's just so much talent on that team that you'd expect them to perform a ton better. And then my 8th point, I just have written Malik Neighbors. Does anybody want to discuss Malik Neighbors?
All right, I could go on and on. I'm a Giants fan. Malik Neighbors looks amazing. As much as I do not like our quarterback play, Malik Neighbors is making Daniel Jones look like he's a great quarterback. The catches that he's making, the body control that he has, the way he's toe tapping on the sideline. He did have that missed catch in that game that really hurt us. But when you're looking at a rookie, he looks real polished throughout the game, and it's kind of scary. I feel like he can become a top 5 receiver in, give me like 4 years. I feel like he has the talent, he has the work, and I feel like he's going to be able to get those receptions to show that he will be a top 5 receiver.
Yeah, I know I already touched on it kind of with our draft preview, but the dude's just a flat-out stud. Just his physical, the way he plays football is different than you see from a rookie. You know, he has come into the league and already looks like he's been a veteran presence. Very, very happy with what I've seen. I mean, he was obviously a stud at LSU. A lot of people, him and Brian Thomas Jr., it was a debate who was the best receiver on that team. I was always, sticking with Malik Neighbors, but Brian Thomas wasn't. It's not a crazy call. Just a straight up stud, and he's going to be a problem in this league for quite a while.
Yeah, the only thing I really have to say about him is he's so good that he's going to make the Giants organization make a mistake and give Daniel Jones a contract extension.
Yeah, that's certainly the worst case scenario, I think, for a lot of Giants fans. Is that right? That he extends Daniel Jones' job?
Yeah. The GM seems like he loves Daniel Jones, and I'm not in favor, honestly. But
well, he loves him more than he does Saquon. But again, it's beautiful what he's done so far, and he fell all the way out of the top 5. A lot of people had a lot of eyes on Marvin Harrison Jr., and he's playing well as well. But Malik Neighbors coming out of nowhere and really being the Saquon replacement that he's living up to those expectations. The ninth question, the second to last. Can Kansas City still do it without Pacheco and Rice? Rice most likely out for the season. We're still pending on that injury news, and Pacheco out possibly up until November.
This kind of feels like the Patriots, where you just never count them out at this point. I'm iffy on if they'll win the Super Bowl again this year, but I'm not going to count them out. Just with Patrick Mahomes, and even though Travis Kelce has not been playing well, except I think last game he was all right. But as long as you have Patrick Mahomes on your team and the defense hasn't been terrible, I think they'll always have a chance to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think I'm definitely going to count them out as of right now. You've lost, two of the three of your best. You've lost your three best players. You've lost Rashee Rice, who's now probably ACL. You've lost Isaiah Pacheco, and you've straight up lost Travis Kelce. The dude's been radio silent for the first 4 weeks of the year, and people are saying he wants to get benched. I mean, coming into this year, people said this is the year Mahomes finally has all the weapons. Listen, I'm a guy who has gone on camera multiple times and said that I think Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback of all time, straight up. I think the dude is just, an unbelievable talent. But I think that this is just a year where he's just not going to get it done in the Super Bowl.
I totally disagree. I'm sorry. The reason I disagree is I don't think that Isaiah Pacheco had a true, he had a big impact, but I feel like with Mahomes, he can always make up for that ground. Carson still does not look like a terrible backup. He's getting a lot of work, just had 15 attempts the other game. And, I don't feel like they're in as bad of a situation as people think they are. I feel like their wide receiver core looks like it's slowly coming together, but this isn't the first time we've seen Kansas City had a slow start to a season. Although they had 4-0, scoring-wise, this isn't the first time we've seen Kansas City have a slow start to the season, neither as Travis Kelce. He's also had slow starts every year, but when it comes to a big game, I can see them kicking it on at any moment, and it just depends on that game. It's any given Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see if the contenders stay on top, obviously looking for another ring. And then we'll take on the 10th question, and that is very simple one, MVP picks.
Yeah, I look at an MVP. I usually think Patrick Mahomes, guy like Lamar Jackson. You could have thought Jalen Hurts, but I'm gonna take Josh Allen. This is a guy I know he just looked pretty bad against the Ravens, but he always just makes the play. And Josh Allen is getting it done with less. I mean, everyone said, okay, he lost Diggs, he lost Gabe Davis. This team lost 8 out of their 10 of their All-Pro players, and yet Josh Allen still started 3-0 and had one of the best offenses in the NFL throughout the first 3 weeks, and they just got smacked by the Ravens. Good teams can still lose football games, and I think when it comes down to it, who's the most valuable player in the NFL? I lean Josh Allen this year, and I think we've known it's a quarterback award. So even a guy like Saquon Barkley, who has been probably the best player in the NFL throughout these 4 weeks, Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the NFL as of right now, just because it's a quarterback award unless you have a season like Adrian Peterson had. The last time someone won MVP that wasn't a non-quarterback, it's not going to happen. If Christian McCaffrey or Tyree Hill did not win MVP last year, then there's no hope for anyone besides a quarterback to win MVP, and Mahomes isn't getting it done. Lamar's just not going to do it again this year. He's not going to put up that same season. I have to go with Josh Allen.
I'm going to go with a crazy pick, only because I see the upside of it. I believe Sam Darnold can have that Blaine Gabbert type of season. The way we saw Blaine Gabbert back in the day, it was not Blaine Gabbert, Blake Bortles, I'm sorry. I feel like this is one of those years where, especially when Jordan Addison gets back on the field, he has TJ, he has Jay Jettas. I feel like the weapons that they have around him can make him look better than he actually is. He's playing the field really slow, he's playing it smart, and they look like a true contender this year, and they look like problems that they could have without the league, and I think Sam Darnold has a chance this year, being the only year that he is. Thinking that he is also younger than people actually give him credit for. He's younger than Joe Burrow, and it's kind of crazy that you can see that he can have more production and he can become a better quarterback.
Yeah, I think actually Sam Darnold was a good dark horse, but for me, I will probably agree with Josh Allen. I think that this is the year that he finally gets it done with controlling his turnovers. Although last night was kind of iffy. But I think this is a year where he'll finally control his turnover problem. I think, in my opinion, I think the Bills will make the Super Bowl this year. I'm kind of leaning towards that a little bit. Not fully set, but I think Josh Allen will definitely win MVP this year.
All right. Well, I turned off I don't know if you noticed, I did turn off the clock for the last question because I wanted to hear what everybody had to say. Josh Allen, the favorite coming out of the Big Hit studio. I gotta say my MVP pick though, right? 100% gotta go with Kenny franchise. Kenny franchise, baby. Hurts is getting benched next week.
Yeah.
Kenny's coming in. He's taking us to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
But that is it for me in our first lightning round of the season. I'm excited to see how the NFL year goes and how our picks end up aging, because they always age perfectly.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for watching this lightning round episode of The Big Hit, our first episode of the season. We should be in store for a pretty good semester here. And, thank you all for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.